with me, who will be going over the details of our issue papers. Please stand as I mention your name. To my left is T.J. Sepula, is the Legislative Division Vice President. On my right is Michael Barbaro, is Chair of CAR's Legislative Committee. And to my left is Donna Carnes, is the Vice Chair of CAR's Legislative Committee. And on my right is Mary Ann Hebert, the President-elect and staff member, Tim Callahan, is CAR's Vice President of Government Affairs. Okay, you got your folders. I ask now that you open them and look for a golden sticker on the inside pocket. The 5 people with the golden stickers are the winners.
Is implementing the Learn Here, Live Here program that was actually passed last year and approved by the governor as part of the Majority Leader's Growth Job Roundtable Act. The idea is to stimulate the jobs housing equation that Bob just mentioned. In essence, if you learn in a qualified Connecticut VOTEC school or college, you're encouraged to live in our state after graduation. State income taxes paid by those graduates would be set aside by the state treasurer in a housing trust to help them buy their first home, provided it's located here in Connecticut. On the second side of the position paper, you'll see a section labeled, "Here's how it works. Learn here, live here." A person graduating on or after January 1st, 2014 chooses to have his or her state income tax liability segregated into a special first-time homebuyer's account, up to $2,500 annually and $25,000 cumulatively. At any time within 10 years after graduation, the whole amount can be withdrawn for a down payment on a first home located in Connecticut. Groups of realtors and other professions grouped in like occupations should be able to negotiate collectively for lower cost health care plans, like unions and large corporate employers now do. My friend, CAR past president Linda St. Peter, has worked long and hard on this program. She has served on high-level government advisory panels in search of solutions. Today, we ask you to voice support for 2 bills. One is House Bill 5013, which simply expands the composition of the board of the Connecticut Health Insurance Exchange to include folks as voting members, a small employer representative, a consumer of specialized care services, a disability or a chronic illness or a special need, and the current healthcare advocate, that person would be a voting member. The other bill is House 5487. It contains the recommendations of the Small Business Healthcare Working Group to assist small businesses to access affordable healthcare. The bill will permit small employers, including businesses of, self-employed one-person shops, to have the option of purchasing health insurance through the state employee plan.
I think this is the first time since I've been coming, which is since day one, that we haven't had on the agenda a conveyance tax issue. You all realize that? However, they've asked me to talk about issue number 3, which is banning private transfer fees. Similar, but not the same as a tax. Unlike the government-imposed conveyance taxes, these are charges, usually a percentage of the selling price, paid to a designated beneficiary when property is sold. Typically, a developer or investor records a long-term covenant, like a 99-year covenant, or a 99-year lease. Those of you who are commercial that do these big leases that go on for long, forever and ever. They record this on the deed that requires payments to private parties every time the property changes hands. So not only the first time you sell the place do they get a fee, but every time, similar to conveyance taxes, only remember this is a private property transfer fee. Every time you sell that property, this private entity gets a fee. They're essentially revenue raisers for the developer or an associated entity with no benefit to the homeowners or even to the property they encumber. So nothing goes to the condo association, the homeowners association. It goes to the developer of that entity that is so assigned. Your association, joined by the title insurance industry, tried to prohibit private transfer fees last year. Lawmakers did not make it a priority and the bill failed. The same thing may happen this year unless legislators amend another bill, since Carr's proposed language did not make it out of the Judiciary Committee. What that means is we are working on finding another place to attach this language to get this approved and passed. Meanwhile, the rest of the country has acted. Private transfer fees have been banned or restricted in 40 states already. In addition, the Federal Housing Finance Agency has issued regulations banning Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and FHMLB from purchasing mortgages and developments that have private transfer fee covenants, with certain exceptions. There's not enough restrictions on those federal financing now. You won't be able to get financing because you can't resell these mortgages out there. That's about 60% of the mortgages that are being handled nationwide. Please understand that the prohibition will favor.
Thank you, TJ. The two bills which TJ referred to each have something in common. Both of these bills are well-intentioned, but both of them started out as extreme proposals that were somewhat watered down after public hearings where opposition was offered. It is important, and I want to impress upon you, to remember that our position on these bills should not be misconstrued as being insensitive to any of these issues. As we move on, the first bill on the next page after TJ's is House Bill 5385 concerning energy retrofits and the disclosure of energy efficiency. In its original form, this bill required all sellers of residential properties to have the home's energy efficiency evaluated, a home audit, and then disclose that as a condition of the sale. It also required owners of rental housing to document the prior 2 years' worth of heating expenses before leasing the premises to tenants who would be responsible to pay for their own heating. We have some concerns on this, that this would perhaps create some false negatives based on people's lifestyle and how they live and whether or not they choose to have their heat on 78 or 58. The original bill would also have compelled owners of commercial properties to disclose Energy Star benchmarking data before being allowed to lease, sell, or in some cases even finance the property. Commercial landlords would be required to provide this data to prospective purchasers, lessees, lenders, and also the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. The subsequently revised bill limits this requirement to only those properties offered for sale to a municipality or to the state. For residential and non-residential properties receiving clean energy funding, the revised bill requires public disclosure of energy data uploading to this Energy Star database, as well as retrofitting certain CHAPA-related transactions. The language regarding the residential landlord mandate has been removed, at least for now, but let's stay tuned for that because that could change. House Bill 5128. As realtors, we support the protection of our natural coastal resources. Ostensibly, this bill is in response to the damage recently sustained by many coastal homes and structures during Tropical Storm Irene. The most recent version of this bill creates a new policy goal for municipalities and the state of, and I quote, encouraging a strategic realignment of development in coastal lands. Now, the original wording, which was a bit more daunting, sought, and I quote, to encourage a fair and orderly legal process to foster strategic retreat of property ownership for coastal lands that have a likelihood of being lost due to erosion or that contain structures that are subject to repetitive damage. I just want to repeat one part. A strategic retreat of property ownership. Scary language. And this language is rightfully alarming to those of us that are concerned that overregulation may unduly deprive private owners of their right to preserve and to use their land and the improvements thereupon. Furthermore, this bill gives new powers to the land use boards and to the State Department of Energy and Environmental Protection to define exactly what constitutes a rise in sea level and whether to approve or deny applications relating to site plans, subdivisions, variances, and even the reconstruction of an existing property. Also, no provision has been made this far providing for fair compensation to owners if and when private property is taken by government action under the criteria of this bill.
I want to thank everybody for coming today. I hear it's the spring market, and a beautiful spring market, and that the real estate market is picking up. Unfortunately, the issue that I'm talking about, this forward-looking proposal conceived by CAR General Counsel Eugene Marconi, is a similar predicament to what TJ described regarding the private transfer fee issue. The association provided suggested language to the Insurance and Real Estate Committee, but the committee did not raise the bill. What the association has been advocating is to improve the way properties are transferred in the foreclosure process by adding a third alternative to colonial-era methods now used by our state. This third alternative is called foreclosure by market sale. Because the court would allow a distressed property to be exposed to a broader universe of buyers, thereby stimulating sales at prices more likely approaching market value. It would provide benefits to the owner being foreclosed upon, as well as relief to the foreclosing lenders. Foreclosure by market sale opens the process up to prospective buyers wishing to use conventional or CHAPA financing. Because of the judicial supervision, lenders could not ignore or delay the short sale process. In other words, this will really help us if we can get something passed, because, you know, when you have a foreclosure, they board up the houses possibly because people do some vandalism. If we can get some kind of bill that lets us sell the houses while maybe the owner is still in the house, it will preserve the neighborhoods, it will help crime, it will bring up the values, because these comps that are used, they are such lower values because, they're vacant, and, we want them to work with us. Now, I'm gonna make this short because I want you all to promise me that you'll come back and bring a friend next year, because I so wanna make Michael, I wanna look better than Michael just once.
Radinolfi, first name's Al, that's the way I like to be referred to, and I'm representing the portion, mostly Cheshire, the north end of Hamden, and the west side of Wallingford. And pretty involved. I've been involved with real estate, this group, over a number of years, and have always supported your issues. And I will continue to support your issues and your recommendations that we receive. Just to give you an idea, maybe how things work.
Some of those incentives and programs, so please visit the Department of Economic and Community Development website if you want more information about those small business programs. In this session, many of us are focused on the Governor's Comprehensive Education Reform proposals, which I'm happy to discuss if you have any questions about that. Look forward to your questions. Thank you.
Prior to my coming to the State House here, and as you can look at me, I'm the oldest true freshman representative here. Ready for retirement. I was mayor of Putnam for 14 years, and I was a small businessman. I have to say this, I love you realtors, because I've done a lot of business with you over the years, and it seems like you're always making me money, so I ain't gonna say it. I have a warm spot in my heart for you. I'm also on a board of directors at a small bank just over into Massachusetts, Oxford, Western, that area. And I can truly say that I realize the pitfalls and the things that you people are going through right now, with all the repossessions and all the foreclosures and the whole 9 yards. And I've got to say, and I mean this for anybody, I don't care where you are throughout the state, if I can help you with anything, or if this legislature decides they want to put any of our city bills through, don't be afraid to call me, because I'm there representing not only my district especially, but anybody else throughout the state that I can help with this, again. So if you have any questions after for me, don't be afraid to come in. Thank you very much for letting me say a few words, and have a great day.